I'm going to talk to you about peasant weapons of the Dark Ages. I realise this covers a large area. But whenever we think of Saxons or Vikings, see them with their magnificent helms, their flaming swords and blah de blah de blah. But the reality is the majority of the army were poor people who were fighting for their own land. So you're an ordinary peasant farmer. You've got very little in the way of wealth. You may even be a slave still, or you've just come out from that. So what do you do to defend your land? Well, pointy stick. Now this in itself doesn't seem much, but you imagine a long-ish stick sharpened to a point and fire hardened. Now the origin of the spear, there's an excellent video out by Stefan Marlowe who goes into the history of the spear. Here's a very primitive example. This got mushroom end on it, so now you just sharpen it, stick it in a fire, let it burn, and then keep it there, get the flames out. Now another thing you can do is club. This is just basically a tree root. You could dig it off, and there's nothing subtle about this. Just you can shatter heads with this, or you could do a lot of damage with it. In other words, it keeps you alive. Here's its little brother, a clubette. There you go. Again, just an ordinary piece of wood, fettled. It's effective, it works, and yeah, it keeps you alive again. Or maybe even something like that. Doesn't look much, but you get a face full of that, you've got big trouble. In fact, look, there's eyes. But if you're in a fight and this is all you've got, you're going to use it. You've seen the deers of the forest using these, and this could keep you alive. Or a nice old hammer. This one's made of wood. Simple enough, get a log, bore a hole, get another stick, wham it through. You've got protection. In my past as an archaeologist, we dug a cemetery, and there was one particular skeleton that stood out for me. From the knee to the ankle, he had 18 separate spear wounds which had healed, and that tells me that he was a man of lowly status, and basically to get to the people who are worth money and worth ransoming, you get rid of the people. You don't want to kill them, because when you've taken their land, you want them to work the land for you. If they're dead, they can't do that. So in the legs, down he goes, and off you go to get this lordship. That's not a good place to be on the floor in a battlefield, because they also had big dogs who they kept hungry, hence let loose the dogs of war. So you're laying there, you can't move very well, and this great big dog comes up. He's not saying hello to you, he's looking at you for dinner. But there was a hard, brutal life on both sides of the fence, so you used whatever weaponry you could, even down to fists. Now, I have heard, I haven't seen personally, but they excavated Anglo-Saxon graves and found a wooden pot on the head of one of the bodies. Again, that sounds a bit weird, but if that's all you've got to protect your head, you stick it on. Helmets were very, very expensive. We get blasé about it. A helmet is said to be worth the price of a house. And as for a sword, well, you dream of it, but you would never own one. You'd never be allowed to touch one, because you're of that social class. But the tools you use, you see this a lot actually as a parallel in Japan. You see the ninja warriors with their rice flails and things like that. These are farm tools, because the peasantry wasn't allowed to own weapons, so they had to use farm tools, adopting, sharpening a bit here and there, and then learning techniques on how to use them. And I think this would be the same in the Viking Age. There's quite a few parallels actually between Japanese society and the Vikings, which makes me wonder, is there a longship out there yet to be discovered? I hope so. Peasants' weapons, it tends to be sounding like here we're denigrating it. No, these are everyday people. Majority of us today would be in that situation had we lived in the Dark Ages, because you weren't allowed to have weapons. Because the elite who tie you to the land don't want you armed as well as they are, or getting expertise in that. But you'd be expertise in these kind of tools that you handle every day. So anyway, basically that's a thumbnail sketch about Viking, Dark Age weaponry. Have I got a deal for you? Yes, Bragi's scram sacks, and here he is, the man himself. Fed up of cutting your fingers off? Fed up of having dull weapons? What is so special about your knife?
Well, this is not just any knife. It is a Seax. It is a sharp knife. The Seax of the Saxons. It is nice and sharp, made from the best quality steel, dug from the earth by, well, lower class men. And of course, you know, everybody needs one of these to be free.
Surely it's the work of the gods that you're talking about.
Yes, no dwarves were employed to make this Seax, as in Norse mythology.
We don't mean to be heightist, but the gods know what they're doing. Now, if you want one of these, you've got to send off to Oslo Fjord, Norway, 56.
Oh yes, I made up a dress. Yeah. And this used to belong to a king. I killed him in battle, and I got this Seax for free. Hey!
All I got was corns on my feet.
It did.
Well, if I want to get one, can I pay by credit card?
No, you can't. Coin and a large bag at that.
Okay, and what would be the price?
11 coins of 11 bags worth. So 110.
Put me down for one.
You can have yours with gold or silver.
Woof, woof, baby.
In and out.
Yeah. Okay. My mum would say it's so blunt you could write a pudding in back. If you've got any ideas of your own and you can inform us further, press the old subscription bell, leave us a comment, and we'll get back to you. Until then, hope the weather's fine. Bye now.